have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
With us now, CNN political commentators, former Democratic Congressman Luis Gutierrez and Republican consultant John Thomas. John, at least one constitutional law expert and a presidential historian called the pardon idea an impeachable offense. Would it be?
Impeachable? I doubt it. And this isn't a president exactly hands out pardons like candy, and he's also denying that he even offered it. So I don't know exactly why we're going down this road, but I think it does warrant the broader conversation that the asylum system we have is broken right now. I mean, it's easy to claim asylum. We have too many asylum seekers and can't manage them at the border, and it's a crisis that needs to be fixed.
You know, it's not easy to claim asylum, or at least to get asylum. We know 90% of people who go through the process and seeking asylum are rejected. But going beyond the pardons for this moment, this whole idea of denying asylum seekers the right to even step foot in the U.S., that's against the law, period.
Well, right. I mean, again, if Trump said it, which it sounds like he didn't, he's frustrated. He's looking at a full-blown crisis at the border. Former Obama DHS Secretary Jay Johnson even said that if they saw 1,000 people at the border trying to cross, that would be a crisis. We're at 4,000 just as of, what, a week or so ago per day. So this is a crisis. I think the President Trump is going, look, there isn't the political will in the Congress to help solve this problem, and he's trying to explore options. Doesn't sound like he's going down that road, Anna, because he's denied that he wants to do it. So we're talking about hypotheticals here. We might as well be talking about Russian collusion.
Luis, Democrats have watched the president go into overdrive, you could say, for weeks on immigration. Just this week, the Washington Post editorial board noted that neither the president nor Democrats have advanced a blueprint on the border crisis. Where are Democrats in terms of coming up with alternatives on immigration?
Well, first of all, let's be clear. The Attorney General is the one that began this fiasco by changing the law and saying we're going to make sure we separate children from their parents. And that was a change in the process. And so once that process began, they kept trying to stop and stop and stop legal asylum seekers from entering into the United States, because their plan was, well, if we just separate them, they'll stop coming. Well, that's not really the issue. The issue is that there is a crisis, a hemispheric crisis, one in which the United States should lead. In Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, there is a crisis. Remember, people aren't coming from Nicaragua, they're not coming from Costa Rica and from Belize. They're really not even coming from Mexico. They're coming from those 3 Central American countries because of the danger that exists in those countries. So people are coming, fleeing, and they have absolute right under the law. And this president should not be able to undermine and undercut the law. Now, you say, what are Democrats doing? I think Democrats should be opening their hearts, opening their cities, and they should be opening themselves up to saying yes. Just as we went
what
to
do you
the
mean,
airports
though? What do you
to
say by saying yes?
Muslim...
What do you mean by that? Does they
What
open borders?
I mean is
that
this.
what you're suggesting?
What I mean,
because that's what the president says
Anna,
Democrats
Anna,
are wanting
please
to do.
No. I said legal asylum seekers, which was your question to me, which was what I'm answering. And you said, what are Democrats doing about it and the crisis? I think, and I've said this before on CNN, I said, the silence is deafening from Rahm Emanuel, who likes to pat himself on the back as being the great immigrant advocate and fighting with the mayor of LA and fighting with the mayor of New York about who is the greatest advocate. Well, guess what, mayors? It's your turn to step up, okay?
Yeah.
Starting with the mayor of the city of Chicago and saying, if you are a legal asylum seeker, we're not going to let Donald Trump change the very institution and fabric of what has made America the great country that it is.
Luis, I'm speechless. I think you and Donald Trump are in agreement here. Trump is saying that he wants to bring these asylum seekers to these sanctuary cities, and it sounds like you're welcoming them with open arms. So it sounds like you agree with Trump's plan to bring them to San Francisco and Los Angeles.
I understand, look, I understand the cynicism of
what
this
you just said. Welcome them with open arms.
That's not, don't put words in my mouth. This is not Fox News, this is CNN. You don't get to change the facts, and you don't get to change what I say.
You
okay?
just did a monologue about
this is
open
real
everything,
serious news happening right here. So let me just finish, since you want to obviously change what I had just said. What I said was the following. You have advocates of immigrants who have been touting themselves as advocates of immigrants, and they should step up. We stepped up for our Muslim community. We stepped up for our gay community.
Okay,
we stepped
Luis,
up for the
so
women.
let me be clear.
We should
Hold on.
step up
Let
for
me be
immigrants
clear.
that
Let
are
Luis finish, and then
fleeing
you can
violence
respond, John.
and death.
So let me
Okay,
be
go
clear.
ahead.
So I understand. You're saying that I was wrong. You do not want sanctuary cities to welcome these asylum seekers with open arms. So you don't want these immigrants in your backyard. It's okay. They should come through our border because they have a legal right to do it. But not in my town. Because, no, actually, I'm trying to get clarity. Because you're saying you don't want them in your town, but it's okay in Texas.
Let me repeat once again. You cannot be a guest, as I am on Anna Cabrera's show, and the moderator at the same time. Okay?
I'm just trying to get clarity so that
you do not have the
Okay,
right
let me
to
jump
ask
back
me
in,
questions
guys. Let me
and
jump back
clarity.
in,
You can't
because
do
I
both
think
things.
you both have had a
I know
chance
you
to
think
say
this
your
is Fox
piece.
News, but it's not.
No, okay, guys, let me jump in, because let's talk about the sanctuary city idea that the president has now said on the record he is looking into. This idea of dropping off immigrants who come across the border who've been detained and maybe are at one of these overflowing shelters needing to go somewhere else, dropping them off in sanctuary cities. The mayor of Berkeley, California, sanctuary city, he joined me earlier. He calls the president's threat illegal and immoral, but he also believes his city could handle it. Let's watch.
Obviously, we would have to work to provide housing and services, but Berkeley has been a sanctuary city since 1971. We have welcomed with open arms immigrants and refugees to our community, working with our faith community, working with other community partners.
Luis, do you believe every self-declared sanctuary city could handle it?
Here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have a great tradition in this country. As we accepted immigrants from Italy and Poland and Russia and refugees from all over the world in our great cities, we can do that again. There is a humanitarian crisis at that border. There are children and families fleeing violence, and they are being preyed upon. And our government is violating the law by now allowing them to enter. And if Donald Trump wants to be, how would I say, cynical by saying, oh, don't you worry, my voters, they won't come your way. We're sending them, which is what he always do, pits one group of Americans against another. I say, let's be the great America that we always are. Let's look at the Statue of Liberty. Let's welcome those that are weak. Let's welcome those that are fearful of losing their lives. Let's welcome those children and those families. And I bet in the city of Chicago. And what I'd like to say is, look, I'm ready to say, let's challenge my own mayor of the city of Chicago. Let's start welcoming somebody. We did it for Muslims that came to this country. We did it for Jews that were fleeing Russia. We've done it in the past. That is what makes this country the country that it is today. It should be no different for Latinos that are coming from Guatemala and El Salvador that are feeling the violence because of the drug cartels, all powerfulness in those countries.
John, we know sanctuary cities and states aren't just home to Democrats. You live in California. The president says people in California would be happy, so happy, in fact, were his words, for immigrants to be dropped off in California. How happy would you be with the president if he does this?
Well, look, it wouldn't be the first time that I would suffer at the hands of my out-of-control liberal state government and liberal local city government. So, but no, look, as much as I don't
No, that
want,
would be the president's choice, though, to put him there.
No. What I'm saying here is, in this case, I think that the state of California and these sanctuary cities should suffer. Well, in this case, suffer, because we have a lot of other problems like homelessness crisis and things we can't
Why
do.
would they be suffering, though? I don't understand. Why do you think they would be suffering?
Because we can't handle it, Anna. I mean, I live in L.A., and if you go down into downtown L.A. or Skid Row, there's miles of homeless encampments that we can't handle. We don't know what to do. We can't even take care of our own people. The system is financially strained. Crime is up in much of California. And just forget even the fact that I would argue that sanctuary cities have higher crime rates than non on sanctuary cities.
That's not true.
But
That's
yes,
not
it
true.
is. Yes, it is,
There
Anna.
are
If you
studies that
compare,
prove the exact
yes,
opposite.
okay,
I'm sorry,
yes,
John,
but
that's
if you,
not true.
Anna, if you compare equal cities with similar demographics, shapes, and sizes, sanctuary cities have almost 20% higher crime on average. But that aside,
that is not true, John. There are multiple
on
studies that show undocumented immigrants commit crimes at a lesser rate than native-born Americans. And in fact, when you look at areas of higher populations of undocumented immigrants, the crime rate is lower according to several studies.
Because those studies are not comparing apples to apples in similar-looking cities. But let me just say this, Anna, there's a reason why when California declared itself a sanctuary state, that so many counties and cities within California filed declarations saying we are unwilling to be a sanctuary city because it's bad for them. Look, LA, I think, is a sanctuary city, maybe not officially, but they have sanctuary policies. I don't think it can handle more illegal immigrants, but they should correct their policies because it's dangerous for me to live here. And, you know, so be it. If Trump sends them here, then that's what it is.
John Thomas, Luis Gutierrez, thank you both for being here. Under recall, nearly 5 million Fisher-Price Rock and Play sleepers now considered unused.